the main subject of my next lecture is are titanium implants. And the question is there any problem, possibly, about titanium implants here, or are they connected to silent inflammation in jawbone? And is there a critical response by these cytokines, TNF-alpha, and our friend RANTI for overall health? Now, this is the backbone of the lecture. Of the criteria, are three criteria for assessing implant success enough. Is titanium 100% stable? Does a detrimental effect of TNF-alpha expression on other cytokines exist inside the jawbone bone marrow or beyond peri-implantitis? I will not talk about peri-implantitis because this is a subject with many people speak about that. This is not my item. I'm not a peri-implantologist. But the question is there adjacent to the titanium implant possibly a silent inflammation which creates rantids? And number 5 is the connection between TNF-alpha and rantis expression, rantis and overall health, and how to detect rantis in jawbone, rantis origin in jawbone. So now you know, if you have an implant, what are we looking for? We are looking for occlusion and aesthetics. We are checking the periodontal tissue around it. Is there a peri-implantitis? And when we have a good osseointegration, that means when the implant is stable, we are happy. The patient is happy, we are happy. Okay, it's a good success. But the question is, the missing criteria number 4 is, is there a possible immunological reaction in the jawbone marrow? Because basically, we are not inserting implants into jawbone, we are inserting implants into jawbone marrow. That's the difference. So, normally here, the discussion goes around the stability of the implant. Since people like Ulrich Volz developed ceramic implants, we have an upcoming and growing discussion about compatibility of titanium implants. And now the question I would like to work on and to raise is the question for sustainability of the immune system by the implant. Is the immune system possibly disbalanced by titanium implants? So, this is what we love to do. For instance, this is a patient, she is 30 years old, and she has alopecia areata, losing hair, which is for a woman, it's not that good, and she doesn't appreciate that very much. What we do is we take out these titanium implants, make an immediate ceramic implant, take out these root fillings, immediate ceramic implant, and here the same. And actually, 4 weeks later, the hairs start to grow. She's very, very happy now at the moment. And this is what actually, here you can see how reliable the titanium is. Here we took out the titanium implant. You still can see the windings. And here are these black spots. And we check these black spots for metal contents. And here you see the titanium is very, very high in this jawbone. So, titanium always gives particles off into the joint, into the surrounding joint. And you see how it's huge. It's huge. It's put this in there, but it's amazing. And the funny thing about it is, we did not found in medical literature a maximum content of titanium, an acceptable one, a threshold. Okay, so we took 1,000 micrograms per kilogram body weight, and it was much, much more here. This is the pathohistological picture, and you can see the titanium particles in the pathohistological picture. But you also can see this fibrotic degenerated adipose tissue here. This is healthy bone particles. And here we again have our degenerated adipocytes, our oil cysts here. And these are 5 titanium implants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's 6. 6 titanium. No, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is the maximum threshold of maximum contents of titanium in jawbone particles. And all 5 titanium implants we took out, and we checked the surrounding bone for titanium compounds were far high above. So it's really an item we should concern. Here you again see a picture. These are the titanium particles enlarged in the microscope. And the interesting thing is here again, these particles. And here you see this yellowish, fatty, degenerated adipose tissue just neighboring close to these titanium particles. Now, what we know, which is well known in literature, this is not my research or my idea, we know that titanium, and this is very important to emphasize, titanium particles are immunogenic and not allergenic. That means in the ELISA test or in the LTT test, you will not get a reaction to titanium. Okay, in the lymphocyte transformation test, titanium is always neutral and compatible. But the titanium particles here are connected to inflammatory processes and reactions by the TNF-alpha, tumor necrosis factor alpha. So we have the macrophage, here we have the titanium implant, and here we get the TNF-alpha expression, and TNF-alpha goes up. This is the paper I'm talking here. So we can say around titanium implants we have 2 problems. First, the dissolved particles, which are inside the bone. And second, we have high TNF-alpha. Now the question is, does a detrimental effect of TNF-alpha expression on other cytokines exist inside the jawbone marrow? That means, is there a signaling network initiated by high TNF-alpha? Or is it just TNF-alpha? And here another paper, tumor necrosis factor alpha induced secretion of Rantes CCL5. That means TNF-alpha is provoking an overexpression of Rantes CCL5. But the funny thing is, it takes the body and it takes these signaling pathways up to 6 months to go up. That means you insert, for us clinicians, you insert a titanium implant. It's stable. You have no peri-implantitis. But 6 months later, the patient develops a Rantes-connected chronic immunological disease, even breast cancer or ALS or whatever it is. And then 6 months later, nobody will say, this was the implant. No, they say the implant is good, okay, stable, no infection around it, and it was 6 months ago, so this cannot be connected to any diseases. And this is a bias. Okay, we saw it, looks similar. Okay, this is run test, but again, run test can have detrimental effects by other recruitment of immune cells that enhance inflammatory processes such as arthritis, Beatrice was showing it before, atopic dermatitis. This is my patient in the beginning, nephritis, colitis, and other disorders. Or, here, the biology of chemokines. RANTES targets the central nervous system and is able to cause multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's disease. In targeting mast cells, RANTES causes allergies. This is what we will be talking about during the break. Yeah? When you have a patient with many allergies or this multiple chemical syndrome, MCS, RANTES, in contact with the mast cells immediately expresses high level of histamine. Alopecia, again alopecia, both, and thyroid disorders. And one of the reasons to do this research was we have 3 ALS patients, and ALS is not fun. 3 ALS patients where the ALS came up 3 to 6 months after insertion of titanium implants. This is a coincidence, it's not a proof, but it's a remarkable coincidence. Now, here you see the X-ray of a titanium implant. Here you can see that the bone around the implant is not very good. Here it's okay at the margin, but here not. And when we take out this titanium implant, this is the titanium implant, you see the neighboring adjacent fat. And this is exactly the same fatty degenerative structures we take out in our FTOJ. So, quite easily, here is another one. Here also you see the fat here, also close to the titanium implant. So we took 14, the bone, this fatty tissue around the 14 titanium implants and checked for the cytokine panel, and the result is again the same. Blue is healthy jawbone. Again, we have 5,400 picograms per ml RANTES in these adjacent fatty tissue. Again, we end up with RANTES. This is a simple game you can play with Google Scholar. You go to Google Scholar and you type in prostate cancer and this Bush operator and RANTES and CCL5. And then you get for prostate cancer, you get 3,480 publications. That means 3,480 papers connect, because Google is a very dumb and simple machine, but connect these two terms, prostate cancer and RANTES. When you go to melanoma, you get 3,900. When you go to cancer reviews, you get 9,400 papers, which are trying to find out, is cancer connected to RANTES? Same with breast cancer, same with breast cancer metastasis, and so on and so on. Multiple sclerosis, and so on. And this is very impressive. The only thing, bad thing about it is when you type in jawbone and Rantis, you get 32 papers, and 14 are from us. What does this mean? This means scientists and doctors or whoever, medical scientists, they care a lot on Rantis, and they work a lot of Rantis, and they try to enlighten the connection between these diseases, immunological diseases, and Rantis. Only dentists neglect that. In dentistry, Rantis does not exist. And this is a bit of a shame. So, I showed you this before. Here is another implant, titanium implant, fat. And when we take out this and we stain it, here you can see these Rantis nests. This is a picture, I think, from, I don't remember, no, it's from us. Here you see one of these huge necrotic adipocytes. This is a normal tissue. And this is a so-called oil cyst. This is full of oil, liquid fat. And this is the source of Rantis overexpression. Again, when you stain these adipocytes, you get these red spots. Now, how can we imagine the connection between TNF-alpha and Rantis expression? Here we start with the insertion of the titanium implant. Then we have this well-known fact of dissolved titanium particles. Now we get a macrophage activation. Now we get an up-regulation of TNF-alpha. Parallel, we get, for a period of, let's say, 1 week or 10 days, we get an acute inflammatory reaction, because when we insert an implant, this is a wound. The wound healing is sort of an acute inflammatory reaction. Eventually, we give the patient antibiotics to keep this level low. Now, when we have the upregulation of TNF-alpha, we get, with a delay of about 3 to 6 months, we get parallel this unknown upregulation of Rantis. And now, this Rantis, we get this possible systemic interference to rheumatism, MS, tumors, breast cancer, cardiovascular diseases. And the problem, I would say, all over in modern medicine is not the acute stage. Whatever you have, the acute cure is sure. Break your leg during skiing, this is perfect, what they do with the leg. But we have a blind eye on these chronic diseases of chronic strain. And this is what happens. This is not my idea. Oh, I forgot the citation, but doesn't matter. This is the normal range here, the physiologic range of inflammations. Okay, it goes a bit up, goes a bit down. But when we have a trauma here, this might be the insertion of an implant, this might be the surgery of a wisdom tooth or whatever we do. This is absolutely physiological and normal. TNF-alpha, interleukin 6 and interleukin 8, they go up. And this is the so-called inflammatory phase, or we call it local, or science calls it local inflammation syndrome, LIS. And this local inflammation syndrome, God thanks, this is good for us doctors. In 1 week, it goes back to normal. In this LIS, in the LIS phase, Rantis is very low. Also MCP2 and FGF2, MCP1, FGF2 and interleukin-1 receptor, all these are low. after, let's say, 1 week or 2 weeks. But instead of staying now here, if the patient is unlucky, the process goes to the anti-inflammatory phase, the compensatory anti-inflammation response syndrome, CARS. So we go from LIS to CARS. That means if the body is not able to stabilize this procedure, we suddenly have high RANTES here, high FGF2, high EL1 receptor antagonist, and high MCP1. And IL-6 and TNF-alpha, they go down, they are underexpressed. These ones are overexpressed. And now we are precisely here. The timeline goes on. The RANTES expression goes on. And this is the problem. Because we dentists, we care about this. We give the patient painkiller, we give him antibiotics and whatever. And then here, the patient is happy, the dentist is happy, and we stop thinking. Not knowing that in many cases, we do not get this balance into the physiological range, but we get this backlash into the anti-inflammatory response syndrome. So this is you have here you have the symptom threshold. Let's say here you get the implant. Here you get the symptoms here, or the disease activity, and nothing happens. Everybody is happy. And suddenly it shows up. And here is the question, where does it come from? Or it's just we say, you have ALS now, and we can't help you. And so this symptomatic disease here goes on in the disease activity. And this means here, in this area, here, we have this chronic persistent disturbance of wound healing. That means, here's the acute phase, here we have this phase number 2, this compensatory syndrome. When we insert the implant here, we also have here the RANTES expression. But nothing happens. Because we stay still asymptomatic. And only if this symptom threshold is overwhelmed, we get here the disease activity. And now we can feel the systemic effect of RANTES. Here, the RANTES expression is still there, but here is the activity. And we call this the start of malabtation. Because, of course, it's not compulsory that each patient who gets a titanium implant is getting breast cancer or ALS 3 months later. This is not true. Because many patients have here the ability to compensate this malabtation. But suddenly, it's overstressed. In a holistic picture, this point of overstressing, the compensatory mechanisms, might be whatever, that angry mother-in-law or going bankrupt or whatever it is, or get a vaccination, or get another 10 amalgam fillings, this, we don't know. So this is, again, the breast cancer patients, for instance, they have more aggressive tumors because of their obesity. So it's not only the size and the number, but it's the secretion of adipocytes. This is our source of RANTES. And this is not mine, this is from this inflammatory mechanisms in obesity. Hence, studying the effect of fat cells on disease progression is of major interest in medicine. But they mean the adipocytes in the belly fat, okay, in the belly fat. Yeah? We refer the whole question to the adipocytes in jawbone. Obese adipose tissue is a mediator of chronic inflammation. Again, these pictures I showed you before. This is our breast cancer cells here, and this is the Ranta staining of the fat cells in the jawbone. Again, this is okay. And now we refer to this stem cells here. The body's own stem cells stimulate cancer cells to mutate, to spread, and to form tumors in other organs. This enhanced metastatic ability is reversible. This is wonderful, wonderful sentence. And is dependent on CCL5 Ranta signaling. This is from a publication from Nature. When you publish in Nature, what we don't, you are close to the Nobel Prize. Huh? Nature is a very high, very well indexing. But this, for us dentists, is this really the clue? Because it's really a crucial sentence, because they say the metastatic ability is reversible. We can stop it and we can change the direction of the disastrous development. But it's dependent on CCL5 Ranta signaling. So if we manage to lower the Rantis signaling inside the body, we have a chance to diminish the danger of metastasis. Well, this is how we thought it possibly could work. Here we have the FDHA, we have the Rantis here we have the fat. Rantis is coming out of these necrotic adipocytes, goes to the serum. Inside the serum, it's going through the body. And in certain organs, here, we have these Rantis diapides is English, huh? Diapides is German. This diapides. And now we have this inflammatory process is started here in the cancer cell. And the funny thing is, here we have more than 5,000 picograms. Here we are below 1,000 picograms. That means if you get the idea or the picture of communicating vessels, okay, you can say the concentration here is higher than here. So the runt is possibly not going from the tumor to the jawbone. Right? It's possibly going from the jawbone to the tumor. Yeah. Okay, and here we can measure the Rantis in the serum. Now, these are our papers, and here our scientific research papers on Rantis CCL5. At the moment, we have here 8. We got a new one now. We have 9. And I show you this, and I tell you this because we are here colleagues. Well, I'm interested in research. It's fun. But I did all this research basically to protect myself. We all know there are some of our friends, they brought to court, they were sued. And now here, with all these papers, we basically can say, oh, no. We might discuss it, okay? But nobody can say this is rubbish and this is not worth to be integrated into a medical approach to cancer to ALS to MS and so on. Of course, if you want, you get this list from me, and you also find it on ResearchGate. ResearchGate, one word, .net, www.researchgate.net, and then you insert my name, Lechner-Johann. And then you find all these papers, including this one. Anyway, here's some left. Okay. I don't want to read these now. Important is here one validation of dental X-ray by cytokine Rantes. This shows that the Rantes source in jawbone does not show up in normal dental X-rays. This is possibly very important for you. And the other one is aseptic avascular osteonecrosis, which proves that it's not a process driven by bacteria. It's aseptic.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
The body is usually really clever. What is the biological? Is there a biological function for this? Is the body trying to do something?
With the fat?
Yeah.
Or with Rantes?
Is it the body not working, or how's the body misdirectingly, the same as an autoimmune disease is misdirecting which the body?
Yeah.
What might the function of this fat be?
It's an excellent question, because a nourishing function, like the fat here, yeah?
Yeah.
The fat here has a function.
But it's a storage,
It's
a
exactly.
toxic storage.
Exactly, for bad times. Huh?
Yeah.
Eventually, what we found out recently is that here in this area, suddenly these stem cells in this area, these hemopoietic stem cells, are activated again. They start to build blood, erythrocytes, and lymphoids, and so on. Lymph cells. But the outcome is that this, the quality of these lymph cells is distorted and goes to the myeloid part. So this might then produce myeloid leukemia. It's a good question.
It's a distortion in the production of the osteoblasts.
Yeah.
It's true.
The other answer would be the body tries to build up new bone by activating the osteoblasts.
I can show you. Well, I'll show you later.
But it's we don't actually know. We can hypothesize. And the question is how to find it, and this is the problem why we need, the fact why we need some ultrasound machines to measure the bone density. This is now a picture of our new machine, and I show you how precise it works. Here we have an implant, and the problem is the area behind the implant here, or beginning from the implant here. This area looks good at this X-ray here. When we open it and we scrape out, you see how deep and how long this fatty area was, going from the retromolar area number 9, going here precisely to the, here was the implant here. And now, just this area, when we start, it's the same, we left the color coding, so same with the old cavitat. So if some doctors are familiar with the old cavitat, you don't have to change. So this means here, red here is the oral cavity here. That means here in the air, here we have a very high attenuation. Then we have, you can see here, what we have here. We have these, we call it linea obliqua, oblique line, or yeah. This is a cortical bone, a line of a cortical bone. And here you can see this cortical bone, it's healthy, of course. Yeah. Then when we come further down here, it's starting the red here. And now this green, which is coming up here, is the solid structure of the implant. But pretty close to the implant, the red color starts. So then the fatty degeneration here starts immediately at the implant. Then going down, this is the tip of the implant here. And this is the area underneath the implant here. This is the reason why we took out the implant. Okay, this is an ALS, another ALS patient. Okay, and at the end here shows up another green color because this is the cortical bone at the basement of our jawbone, of our jaw. Okay, and so we precisely can see and can show the anatomic structures. Okay. And the thing is, this we do not have 5 single pictures. You take your sender and your receptor. It's parallel now. This is very important because this was a problem with the old cavitat. This is why it was described as user dependent. That means eventually you could get any result you intended to get. We are measuring parallel. You put it inside and push it up. Click. And then you get these 5 pictures in a real time. So you don't have to make click, 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 click. No, just push it, click, push it up and click again. Just 1 second. Okay? This is one odonto. Okay? Then the next one. Down, click, up, click, finished. Next one. Okay. So this is the take-home message. Collectively, our data reveal a hitherto unknown function of chronic inflammation in jawbone, promoting overexpression of these chemokinetics. The challenge posed by these discoveries is the link between titanium implants, the following expression of TNF-alpha, well known, and very new, the associated Rantes CCL5 expression and the critical response for this overall health. Okay, thank you. But I think we can go to discussion, or? No. Where is Namir? Yeah, okay. Any questions?
Is there any kind of titanium? I know that implants are not every implant are different implants in composition. Is there any kind of implant which can cause much more rapidly this reaction?
Yeah, this is a good question. I cannot answer because we just saw it's a titanium implant. Okay, which one the patient often didn't know. Yeah, so we couldn't check it. Yeah. This is a problem, but I think it's basically in general. So all the papers I was reading about that, they said, okay, titanium implants, they set free these particles, and the particles are in the bone. This is well known. Yeah, we were at the moment we submitted a paper on these results, and 2 weeks ago I got the reviewers' comments. You know the procedure? You write a paper, you send it to a journal, then they have your paper reviewed, anonymous, by 3 or 4 reviewers. Then you get the things back, and the reviewers say, oh, this is not good, and I want to have answer this question. One of the reviewers asked the same question as you did, honestly, and then you have to try to go through all these to satisfy the reviewers' comments. Yeah. Then you submit it again, and if you're lucky, they accept it then. And when it's published, and it's a good paper, a good journal, they are indexed in PubMed. Then 2 weeks later, it's in PubMed. And when it's in PubMed, PubMed is the biggest medical library under surveillance of US government. You know, US government doesn't like to be cheated by Volkswagen engineers, clean easels. And so it's really, you can say, it's science. It's not absolute truth, of course, but it's science. Yeah? So you are a member of the scientific discussion of the community. Yeah? And nobody can say, oh, you're esoteric, this is something esoteric. Yeah? And what I wanted to say is, one of the reviewers said, great, this is the first research in vivo, yeah, on the consequence of these titanium particles. Yeah? Because there's a lot of paper about these titanium particles, yeah? But we were the first one to ask, is there any connection to overall health? Yeah.
Technique to, when there is a perimplantitis, or you find that you have to take out an implant, is there a technique, especially one not to spread what already is in that part of the bone around the implant?
When you
not
take
to spread titanium, small amounts of titanium during the surgical procedure.
Yeah, good. You take out the bone where you can see, yeah, or the bone where you can feel that the bone is not hard. Okay. Because in those parts where you have the titanium particles, you also have, these parts are also connected to this fatty degeneration. And the fatty degeneration means the bone is not hard anymore. So when you take a sharp spoon and you press, you drop it. Okay? And when it's hard, you know, it's...
Does this concern only titanium implants? You can also have titanium implants with a lot of other metals in, if you buy them for 50 euros a piece. I mean, there's a lot of different qualities, but does the concern other implant metals or metals that go into the jaw? Or is it only titanium that reacts in this way?
No, yeah, we did the research only on titanium implants. I know 25 years ago they started with steel implants and so on. And we had checked one implant which is not in this research. This was a patient from Hungary. And this was a nickel titanium implant with high contents of nickel. And the funny story is that this patient told us that in Murmansk, in northern Russia, there are 100 old Russian atomic submarines, and they all are built from titanium nickel. And this patient thought this Hungarian doctors got nickel titanium alloy from these old Russian submarines, possibly with radioactivity. We don't know, it's just a story, you know. It's just but of course, the less clean or pure the material is, the titanium is, the bigger is the problem.
Have you seen any similar lesions around the porcelain implants? Did you come across porcelain implants?
Ceramic implants. Well, this effect comes also up when you insert a ceramic implant into an existing FDOJ area, okay, then you push it up. Because there might be a slight level of Rantis, which is no harm to the patient. Then you insert the ceramic implant, and then you suddenly push up the Rantis thing. It happened to me also. 2 implants, same day, same patient, just neighboring. And we inserted the implants. Next day the patient has a neuralgia, trigeminal neuralgia. No, not touching the nerve. Okay. Yeah. It was not to explain why she had it. But at the end, it was my mistake because implant number 1 was in healthy jawbone. Implant number 1 was in FDOJ area. Yeah. I didn't follow my own diagnosis properly. Yeah. And then we pushed it up. Taking out the implant, pain was immediately gone. Okay, now, how long, Damir? Another question?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The Randes level, is it dependent on the surface of the implant? Like Bronnemark was warning from our surface, 1998.
No, I can't tell.
And the amount of implants?
I can't tell. We did not discriminate the implants from the manufacturer.
So, because rough surface has it like 200.
Yeah, but I would say any titanium has the tendency to provoke the TNF-alpha expression. And then you are in this circuit.
And some people differentiate between endoprothetic implants like hip implants. Do they make any difference, or do they probably elevate in the same way, or is the tissue different reaction?
No. This dissolving titanium particles, the orthopedists, they also have this problem in the hip implants. This is not only here. Okay.
Did it happen to you to analyze mucociliary reactions in the maxillary sinus and find FDOJ? Mainly for reaction to implant or other?
This is a very good question. You know this common sinus lift with BioOS and so on? Yeah.
Even for a simple reaction to an infection, infected.
Yeah, okay, then you have a normal acute infection. When you insert the implant, just you are not careful enough and just into the sinus, you get a sinus infection.
Yeah.
But this is not what you mean.
No, that's not what I mean.
Yeah,
if you found in the bone or inside the sinus FDOJ.
No, just in the maxillary process, bony process. Here a lot, of course.
Sometimes you find a reaction inside the maxillary sinus, which has that form of
this is
a sun rising.
Yeah.
Inside there, you find FDOJ.
No. These cysts normally are filled with a liquid, with a serous liquid. Yeah, and we didn't measure this because the problem is when you touch the cyst, it goes off. But it might be of interest. I don't know how many time we have. Should I stop now for lunch, or should I tell you about the ceramic implants? Ceramic implants. Thank you.
I definitely need assistance, actually.
This is the other oximeter implants. Now, I presume that we are here because we are also very critical to root fillings and are very reluctant to do root fillings. And several dentists in Germany and me, we got this idea, we take out these root fillings, which are a source not of Rantis, but of these toxic thioether and mercaptan. And we replaced them by ceramic implants. And the problem is that on these wonderful X-rays here, nevertheless, how you value this root filling, when you take out this tooth, it's this color, and this color are toxins. Toxins created by bacteria which live inside this dentinal tubules, and they live there. Now, this is not a very new aspect, because it's well known what these beasts do. They are living creatures, they need food, and they use amino acids like L-methionine and L-cysteine. They eat it up, and then they digest it, and then the outcome is here hydrogen sulfur, volatile hydrogen sulfur, and methylic mercaptan here. This is what comes out as a result of their metabolism. But here, this is very toxic. Here, these substances are not very good. I'll show you later. And again, the question, can we rely on an X-ray? This is not so bad. But now this is basically an idea we steal from Boyd Haley. He agreed. He knows. But it's basically Boyd Haley's idea to produce an indicator that measures these volatile sulfur compounds, which are created by these bacterial digestion. And here, the orotox, we call it orotox. The orotox value goes from 0 to 5. 0 means no toxins. 5 means very high toxins. And here we have very high toxins, number 4. And when you open this tooth here, you can see this black contents. This is full of bacteria. And you see the discoloring of the white dentin. Here it's black and reddish, and it's a horrible source of toxins. And the question is, how can we measure this? The procedure of orotox, very simple. You take a little brush or you take a little paper pin, push it into the socket. The only condition is you must not have a bleeding from the socket. But you as a dentist should be able to see, is it a periodontitis or I get a bleeding when I push in this paper pin or not? Okay? Because when it's bleeding and then you insert this paper pin into the vial with the indicator here, with the liquid, with the indicating liquid, then of course you get a change in color. But normally, when it's clean, you wait for 5 minutes here, and then you see how this liquid is changing to more or less yellow. This is very simple. This is a semi-quantitative process, which is very simple. And then you can say, oh, I have high toxins here in this root filling. And I wonder why all the endodontologists, they say, oh, we make an X-ray, and from the X-ray we can precisely see that this root filling is a good success. Endodontologists are the only people worldwide who can see toxins. Any chemist, you say, oh, can you see toxins? He will say, you need an indicator. You have to measure toxins. So this is the orotox. I have some papers and some slides, some advertisement over there at the table. So we jump over that. And now again, I refer to Boyd Haley. You know him from from the video, from the Skype. What did he do? Professor Boyd Haley, he tried to find out how and where is the systemic effect of these volatile sulfur hydrogen compounds coming out of root fillings. So he took an extracted tooth with root fillings, diluted this solution several times, several times. So it's really here, this mother tincture is really, really highly diluted. Then we make an experiment, and the theory of this experiment is as follows. Here we have these enzymes inside the mitochondria, and let's say we have 3 enzymes, a red one, a blue one, and a green one. And again, enzymes are working with a so-called SH group, sulfur hydrogen group. And normally this product, which has to be changed or activated by the enzyme, goes to the enzyme, it's attached to the enzyme by the sulfur group, and the hydrogen ion goes off. Then the product goes away because it's finished, and the hydrogen goes back to the sulfur. What we can do here is now he blocks this SH group, the active group of the enzyme, he blocks by radioactive ATP. And so this S group, the ability of toxins or whatever to dock at the enzyme is blocked. Now, when we give a toxin which has a high affinity to this sulfur group here, to these 3 enzymes, we see, here the toxin is stronger than this ATP. Here the toxin is also stronger, but not here. Here we have this radioactive marked ATP. So, the darker here the level, the band is here, the less enzymes are blocked by toxins, okay? If it's very thin, we can say, here, out of 3 enzymes, 2 are blocked by the toxins, and the activity of this enzymatic complex is highly reduced, okay? The thinner, the worse, okay? The thicker, the better. Because now, in a radiogram, it looks like that. I have to explain. Here, we have the solution, root canal tooth solution, okay? This is the solution of a root canal tooth. Now, let's take the solution. Here is 0, okay? This means this is the enzymatic activity of our enzymatic solution. Enzymatic activity inside, let's say, the mitochondria. What we check are these 6 enzymes, 5 enzymes. This is out of the mitochondria chain, which at the end produces ATP, which is very, very important for our health and for our stability. So we only refer to the PK. This is the pyruvate kinase. Now you see, the activity of the pyruvate kinase here, the original activity of the pyruvate kinase is that high. Really strong, really busy, really active. When we go to the root canal solution now, and we go to the 15 microgram per liter dilution here, and we go up to pyruvate kinase activity, 15, we end up here. And you see it's only 30% of the intensity of the original solution. Okay? That means this highly diluted solution of this root canal tooth is blocking the activity of the pyruvate kinase for about 60 to 70%. Now you know this, what's the name of this chain in the mitochondria, the English name? Krebs cycle, yes, but not breathing, we call it Atmungskette. Electronic chain, okay, let's say electronic chain. This electronic chain in the mitochondria, it depends on all 5 enzymes, okay? So when you just block one enzyme, it's the same when you take out 5 meters of the train between Munich and Vienna, you have to take out only 5 meters, so the train cannot go where it wants to be. So this is a very impressive example what these toxins coming out from a root canal tooth do with our mitochondria. Now, on the right side here, he did the same with pure hydrogen, sulfur hydrogen solution. And this is known and it's very toxic. When you inject hydrogen sulfur to your patient, it's painful and it's really forbidden. You are harming the patient. We again go to this 15 micromolar dilution. We go up here, pyruvate kinase, and we end up here. So when we compare this enzyme activity with this enzyme activity, so this pure toxin does just half of the damage in enzymatic activity than the solution of this root filling. And this is really impressive or depressive or whatever. Now, here we have a patient, 44-year-old, chronic fatigue syndrome. Chronic fatigue, well, of course, chronic fatigue can be connected to low ATP level, no energy, no cellular energy, yeah, being chronic fatigue. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 root fillings. Pardon?
Some dead teeth.
Yeah, okay. And we regularly send the blood here to the lab in Berlin. We check for the ATP intracellularly, and this patient has only 0.65, should be bigger than 1. So this could be the explanation and the cause for her chronic fatigue. Now we also check for the reactivity on mercaptan and thyroether here, and we measured 2 cytokines. One is interferon gamma, and the other one is interleukin 10. Why? We explain it to our patients. We say interferon gamma is the acceleration pedal in your car, and interleukin 10 is the brake. So in her case, the interleukin 1, that means the blockage of the immune system, is not stimulated, but the tendency for chronic inflammation is high, 10-fold higher than it should be. Yeah. That means we can say, this local high toxins, they have a systemic effect by immune stimulation on this patient. Yeah, this is the lab thing. We call it's an immunological sensitizing aspect, and it's an immunological sensitizing test on mercaptans and thyroeters. Now, here we have another patient. Here we have 4, orotox value 4. Here we have 2. And here we have a different picture. Interferon gamma is not stimulated by these toxins, but it's interleukin 10. And honestly, I don't remember what disease she has, but when we take out all these root fillings here, she is clean now, okay? No root filling anymore. Back. Back. This is after. And when we check again her immune system, you can see her immune system is balanced now. We have no distortion in this immunological sensitivity. So this means, in case this is a cancer patient, but I don't remember honestly, we can say, oh, your overstimulating of interleukin 10, which is blocking the immune system, yeah, is gone now. Okay, just by taking out 2 root fillings. Yeah, the paper is up there. When we publish this, you can have it. And I have to make it more actual. Since March 2015, we had 3,640 views, which is not bad. Including you now, it's 3,700. Now, what does the root filling here in the bone? Simple answer, yes. When we take out this tooth, what can we see again? The same as around the titanium implants, we can see fat here. Adipose tissue. When we check 7 root fillings, the adipose tissue around 7 root fillings, again, it's boring, excuse me, again high branches. It's always the same as similar picture in the cytokine panel. I jump over this because this shows you that rhinitis is connected to the nerve system, to breast tumors, to metastasis. We talked a lot about it. Here we talk also a lot about that. Again, a single case. This is a root filling, little overpress. But just taking out this tooth and leaving the surrounding bone is not enough, okay? This is what I want to show you. We have to clean the bone around it. Now, all implantologists will say, are you crazy? Yeah. This is not socket preservation. Yeah. You should preserve your socket. Yeah, but it's not a problem. When I build up this area with a PRGF, yeah, and when I take care of a proper wound healing, I can insert an implant also. Yeah. But I did a lot of the patient gets a lot of benefit by taking out this bone, which is the source of 9,900 picograms of rhinitis. Here the same. Again, you know the X-ray. Oh, is it or is it not? But again, here we have 4,200. Now, if the patient is unlucky, we have a double effect on the immune system by a root filling. Effect number 1 is the rhinitis here, and effect number 2 is the immunological derailed immune system by thioater and mercaptan. Okay, so if the patient is unlucky, this doubles. And this is the patient. Here we have his fat, you see. Here we have his Rantis panel, or his cytokine panel. And here we have interferon gamma is okay. It's not stimulated by these toxins, by the danger toxins. But interleukin, again, is here sixfold higher or stimulated. That means, again, immunological problem, possibly referred to prostate cancer. Let's talk also about prostate cancer. Here, Rantis is going to prostate cancer, and the blocked immune system is also a bad background for the tumor development. Here's another patient. This is a patient with these immediate implants, ceramic implants. Here a root filling with Orotox 5+, very, very high, Orotox 3, Orotox 4. Here taking out another implant, here 2 implants. These are the implants. And this is the pre-post, comparing the pre-post sensitization. And here red is, this was before or with the root fillings. We had high interleukin 10 and we had high interferon gamma and interleukin 10 mid. Okay, and even we had high interferon gamma, interleukin 10. And then taking out these root fillings, we stabilized the immune system. And what can you do better for your patient than to stabilize his immune system? Because the immune system is that nail at the wall where our overall health is dependent on hanging. Another one here. Here we had interferon gamma 3.7, interleukin 10 was okay. Afterwards we had interferon gamma below the threshold. Interleukin 10 did not change, was okay before and is okay after. Orotox 3, Orotox 3, Orotox 3 to 4. So, what I really love is the combination of this local, measuring the local toxins, okay, and getting the information from the lab, where is the systemic interference of these local toxins. And this is very satisfying, this combination. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Would you like to have these teeth in your body? Probably not. You see, this is one of these teeth, totally black, yeah, totally full of these toxins. These are 4 ceramic implants. Okay, she is cured now. Another example. Here, 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 here. And this is the letter the patient wrote to me. Hi, Dr. Lechner. I came to you because of my rheumatic problems. My rheumatism blood levels were also high. After removing my dead teeth and placing implants, since then I have been pain-free in these joints. My RH blood level are also in order. Attached you will find my new levels, which is below the threshold, and before it was at 19. Yeah. So I think it's quite satisfying, not just to say, oh my God, you need a new root filling and you need an apicectomy, and here you already had an apicectomy. It's better to say, come on, take out the toxic sources. Let's replace them by ceramic implants. So you have teeth to chew, and your immune system is not, you have no interference with your immune system like that. Okay, so yeah, here's a book in German, and yeah. No, this is the take-home message. Very simple. We have problems to evaluate the toxicity of root fillings. Okay, on X-ray you can't see the toxins. Second, but you can define the toxins by the outgas of the toxins, by the orotox. Very simple. It's cheap. I don't know, it costs about 40 euros per tooth. Here we can, the systemic effect of these root fillings, we can define by measuring the ATP in the blood. We can define the immunological effect by measuring the sensitization of interleukin 10 and interferon gamma expression. And these root fillings mostly have parallel accompanying overexpression of Rantes CCL5 deriving from the surrounding jawbone. Alternative, the ceramic implant don't show any of these dementrous factors. So why don't we take ceramic implants instead of this root filling? Quite easy. Quite simple. Thank you. Another question?